All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. Today we are going to start into Chapter 1, Section 6. And so the two things that we're going to cover in here, the objectives, are going to be representing relations. So I'm going to show you how to represent a mathematical relation, and then how to interpret graphs of relations. That's what we're going to do in the second video of this. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is very briefly is the coordinate plane. Now, we actually already covered this in our review assignment, but it's not going to hurt to review this quickly. So let's talk about what quadrants are. So the first thing we're going to talk about what quadrants are. The quadrants are each of the four sections that you see in this coordinate plane. So this would be the first quadrant, and it's represented by a Roman numeral 1. This is the second quadrant, represented by a Roman numeral 2. This is the third quadrant, Roman numeral 3, and then that is a Roman numeral 4. And there's your fourth quadrant. So quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts with this top right quadrant and then moves in a capital C pattern. Followed by the quadrants, the axes. So here is the x-axis. You can see I highlighted it in yellow. So that right there is our x-axis, and I'm going to write a little x right there. Following the x-axis, we also have a y-axis. So the y-axis is going to be the one that goes up and down like that, and I'm going to label that as the y-axis. Um, then we need to talk about what the origin is. The origin is where you originate, which is why it's called the origin, anytime you plot a point. So the origin happens right here in the middle, and that ordered pair for the origin is 0, 0. And then speaking of an ordered pair is going to be x and then y. And it is important that you remember that order, x and then y. If I could draw the x a little bit better here. Sorry about that, x, y. So x is always how far left and right, and then y is always how far up and down. So quick review of what a coordinate plane is and the parts of the coordinate plane. All right, now the next thing we're going to discuss is what a relation is. And a relation is a set of ordered pairs. Set of ordered pairs. Okay, set of ordered pairs. And so you can see we have ordered pairs in really written in a few different ways. We have ordered pairs just written as ordered pairs, or we have ordered pairs written in a table. And you can see that they're exactly the same thing. You can see this first ordered pair is 1, 2, and then we have that ordered pair written right here, 1, comma 2. You could also graph the ordered pairs. In this case, you would go over 1 and up 2. There's an ordered pair. And then lastly, you can have that set of ordered pair written as a mapping. Now, the mapping is probably the one that you're not familiar with. And what a mapping does is it lists all the x values in one column, and we call those x values a domain. And then it lists all the y values in a second column, and we call those the range. So the domains are the x's, the range are the y's, and then it simply draws an arrow from each x to each y. So for instance, if we look over here, I'm going to highlight over so you can see what I'm talking about. If we look over here, um, 1, 2, and then -2, 4, and then 0, -3. So as we do this, 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 4, and then 0 goes to -3. And so right there, you can see there's just an arrow drawn from the x to its y that it's connected to. So there's really four different ways that you can represent a relation. You can represent them as ordered pairs. You can represent those in a table, in a graph, or a mapping. And so, real quick, the vocabulary for this part, it says the domain is the, and you would want to fill in x values of a relation. The range is the y values of a relation. So domains are x's, ranges are y's. Now, the representation of a relation. It says determine the domain and range of each function. So this is pretty easy, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight all of the domains. And remember, domains are the x values. So that's going to be this value, this value, this value, and this value. The ranges are going to be the y values. So this one, this one, this one, and this one. Now, when we go to write them, we're going to write them like this: domain, and then we're going to write range. And so listing the domains, it is going to be 4. Actually, I'm going to back up for a second. Let's start with the smallest and go to the biggest. So we're going to have -2, then we're going to have 0, then we're going to have 2, and then 4. As a side note, if you have a repeated x value, you do not need to list it more than once under the domain. Once is fine. Now for range, we are going to list the y values. And so we're going to go smallest to largest. So -4, and then -1, and then 3. And notice right here, there was a -4 right here, and then there was a -4 right there. You do not need to list it twice in the list. You only list it once. Now, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to write or draw our arrows in. So the first ordered pair would have been 4, 3. So 4 goes to 3, just like that. The next ordered pair we have is -2, -1. So -2 goes to -1 like that. The next ordered pair is 2, -4. So 2 would go to -4 like that. And the last one is 0, -4. 0 goes to -4 like that. So you can see you can have more than one arrow going from the x's to the same y. That's okay. So the domain and range of each of the relations, and then you can see I went a little bit beyond what it asked us to do, and I actually drew a mapping. You will be asked to do that later. So this says determine the domain and range of each function. We're going to do the exact same thing. We'll go with the same colors. So the domain is going to be x, 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 and x. The range are going to be the y's, 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 and y's. And so when we go to list it, we'll say domain, and we have least to greatest again, -4, 0, 3, and 4. And then whenever we write the range, it's going to be -3, 1, and 2. And again, I'll repeat as I did in the last one, there are 2 -3s. You do not need to list both of those when you list the range. You just write it once. Okay, moving on to number 1, part C. Number 1, part C asks you to express, and then they give you 4 different ordered pairs as a table, graph, and mapping. So let's get started. So when we write in the table, it's just a matter of writing the ordered pairs. 4, 3, that was the first one. The next one right here, -2, -1. The next one is 2, -4. And the last one is 0, -4. So the next part is going to be plotting all of these points. And so you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, make it easier to plot. 4, 3, we have to go to the right 4 and then up 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We put a dot right there. The next ordered pair is -2, -1. So that's left 2 and down 1. The one after that is 2, so write 2 down 4, which is right there. And then the last one is 0, negative 4. So 0 means you do not go left or right, and then you just go down 4. And so that's the point. So there's the 4 points. And then lastly, you need to write the domain and range. So we're just going to list the x's and list the y's in order. And when we do that, I'm going to write the smallest x first. So negative 2, 0, 2, and 4. And then the y's is going to be negative 4, negative 1, and then 3. And then you do need to do a mapping. So 4 goes to 3, as it says right here. We're going to do that one first. 4 goes to 3. Negative 2 goes to negative 1. 2 goes to negative 4. And the last one, 0, also goes to negative 4 like that. And there's your mapping. Okay, guys, one more, and we'll be good. So this is exactly like the last one. It says express the following ordered pairs as a table graph and mapping. So the first thing we're going to do is write in our ordered pairs, which is 4, negative 3, 3, 2, negative 4, 1, and 0, negative 3. So that's just copying them. This one, this one, this one, this one, right into the table. Followed by that, we are going to plot these. Remember, it's x and then y. Don't forget, this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis. So this first number in the ordered pair, 4, we have to go to the right 4. Then we go down 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 3. That's going to put us right there. The next one, we go right 3 up 2, which puts us right here. Right 3 up 2. The next ordered pair is left 4 up 1, which is right there. And then the last one is we do not go left or right, we go down 3, which is right there. So there's our 4 dots. Then we need to list our x's. I'm going to list them from least to greatest. Negative 4, 0, 3, and 4. And then the y value least to greatest as well. And then we're going to draw arrows. 4, starting with this one, 4 goes to negative 3. 3 goes to 2. Negative 4 goes to 1. And then 0 goes to negative 3. And there it is. There's our mapping. So we drew, or we put the ordered pairs as a table, we graphed them, and then we separated the domain and the range. Remember, x value is your domain, y values are your range. All right, guys, hopefully that made sense. Have a good day.